The chamber of the Galactic Council was silent, except for the soft hum of translation drones hovering overhead. Thousands of alien representatives sat in their pods, floating or grounded, each watching the central platform where High Chancellor Varix now stood. His long, scaled fingers gripped the edge of the speaker's podium. His voice, deep and firm, echoed across the domed hall. Earth has ignored 72 summons. This is not diplomacy. This is defiance. Whispers rippled across the chamber. Some council members shifted nervously. Others buzzed, hissed, or blinked in agreement. Chancellor Varix said, a glowing sphere of energy. Representative Kell from the Luminary species. Earth has been silent, yes, but they've shown no aggression. We all know they withdrew after the Seldari conflict. Perhaps they simply wish to remain isolated. Varix narrowed his red eyes. You call it peace, I call it preparation. We don't know what they've built in their silence, but we know they once had the capacity to challenge empires. That cannot be ignored. A screen appeared above the center floor. It displayed Earth, calm, blue, quiet. They hide something, Varix continued, and I will not wait for that something to rise. He raised his hand, signaling the vote. I propose we send a peacekeeping fleet to orbit Earth, not to attack, but to ensure order. Murmurs turned into motion. Colored lights flashed across the chamber as the votes were cast. Within seconds the decision was made. Approved. Far from the council's grand chambers, buried deep under the dark side of Earth's moon, a low hum began. Dust shifted. A thin line of light glowed along the edge of a sealed metal hatch. Inside the chamber, rows of machines flickered to life. Long corridors, once cold and dead, warmed with energy. In the center of it all was a cryopod. Frost cracked along its surface. Monitors beeped. Slowly the lid opened with a hiss. Commander Elena Ward took her first breath in over 200 years. She sat up fast, her body reacting before her mind could catch up. She gasped, eyes wide, staring at the unfamiliar room. Then a calm voice spoke, echoing through the chamber. Welcome back, Commander Ward. Earth has activated Protocol Iron Veil. She swung her legs off the pod and stood up, muscles aching. Status report, she said, her voice hoarse. The AI responded instantly. The Galactic Council is en route. They have declared Earth non-compliant. They intend to place the planet under surveillance and political control. Elena clenched her fists. Just like we feared. Shall I begin fleet activation? She paused, then nodded. Yes, quietly. Prepare the Resolute. No one must know we're awake yet. The lights around her turned red. Far beneath the surface of the moon, old warships began to stir. The command chamber beneath the moon was slowly coming alive. Ancient screens lit up one by one, showing star maps, system diagnostics, and encrypted signals. Commander Elena Ward stood at the center, fully awake now, dressed in a sleek black uniform with the Earth Defense insignia on her chest. Give me a full rundown of the fleet, she ordered. The AI responded in its calm, clear voice. Silent Armada systems online. 97% of warships are functional. Cloaking systems remain undetected. The Resolute is at 89% readiness. Elena walked slowly across the metal floor, eyes scanning the displays. Any external transmissions detected? Yes. Council fleet broadcasts intercepted. They will reach Earth orbit in 3 standard days. She exhaled slowly. So it begins. She tapped on a holographic panel, and the screen showed Earth beautiful, peaceful, and unaware. The population didn't know about the Silent Armada. They didn't know their world had been defended in secret since the end of the last Great War. Most believed Earth was weak and isolated. That was the point. Centuries ago, Earth made a choice. After the Seldari conflict nearly wiped out humanity, world leaders agreed. Never again. They dismantled visible weapons, withdrew from the council, and went quiet. But underneath the silence, they prepared. Elena remembered that day clearly. She had been one of the last officers to enter cryo-sleep, trusting the AI to wake her only if Earth faced a true threat. And now it had. She turned toward the large hangar screen. There in the shadows rested the Resolute, Earth's most advanced warship. It was unlike anything the rest of the galaxy had seen. Its hull shimmered with adaptive armor. Its weapons were hidden, its engines invisible to scanners. It was made to fight wars that never made it to history books. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the Council's peacekeeping fleet was on the move. Dozens of ships, sleek and brightly marked with Council symbols, traveled in perfect formation. Each carried elite troops, scanners, and communication drones. On the bridge of the command ship Vigilant Flame, Admiral Rexor stood with his arms behind his back. He was a tall, four-armed alien with sharp eyes and polished armor. "Status?" he asked. A crew member replied, "We will arrive at Earth orbit in 72 hours. No resistance expected." Rexor frowned. "I don't like silence." "They haven't replied to a single message," another officer added. "Perhaps they really are broken. Their war days are centuries behind them." Rexor nodded, but his instinct screamed otherwise. He had studied human wars. Their strange tactics, their unpredictable behavior. They didn't follow patterns. They didn't act like the other species, and that made them dangerous. Back beneath the moon, Elena stood before a group of human officers now awakened from cryo-sleep. Some looked confused. Others stood alert, waiting for orders. They were survivors of Earth's last war. War-hardened, loyal, and silent. "We have 3 days before they arrive," Elena said firmly. "We won't strike first, but we will not be caught off guard. Activate the planetary cloak grid. Make it look like we're still asleep." The officers saluted and dispersed. Elena stared at the stars above through the observatory dome. Somewhere beyond, the Council thought Earth was vulnerable. They had no idea. The Council fleet appeared above Earth's orbit in a slow, steady formation. Over 30 warships hovered like cold metal giants, scanning the planet below. Their hulls gleamed with the silver-blue colors of the Galactic Council. From space, Earth still looked calm and defenseless. On the lead ship, Vigilant Flame, Admiral Rexor stood at the center of the command deck. Dozens of officers and alien crew watched screens showing the planet's surface. "Status of ground forces?" Rexor asked. "They're holding position," an officer replied. "No visible resistance. No activity detected in orbit or on the moon." "Still no transmissions from Earth?" he asked again. "None, Admiral. Total silence." He stared at the screen, his brow furrowed. "Keep a steady scan on the moon. Something feels wrong." Underneath the moon's surface, deep within the control center, Commander Elena Ward watched the Council fleet appear on her holographic display. The system showed every ship, their positions, weapon systems, and scanning patterns. "They're scanning aggressively," her officer said. "But they still can't see us." Elena nodded. "The cloaking net is holding." She turned to the AI. "Is the Resolute ready?" "Affirmative." "Engines calibrated. Weapons online. Cloak active." She took a breath. "Launch it alone." A moment later, the massive hangar bay beneath the moon shifted. Slowly, silently. A single black warship detached from the rock and rose through a shaft toward space. It made no sound. No light escaped its body. It passed through the cloak like smoke through wind. It was the Resolute. Back aboard the Vigilant Flame, the bridge lights flickered. A soft hum passed through the ship's systems. One by one, consoles began to glitch. "Report," Rexor demanded. I'm not sure," the technician stammered. "Something is inside our systems, but we don't see any ship." Suddenly, a single message appeared on every screen, in every Council language. "We do not seek war, but we are ready for one." The screens went black. Alarms blared. The crew scrambled. "Shields up. Defensive positions," Rexor barked, but it was too late. The Resolute decloaked for 3 seconds. In that time, it disabled 3 ships' engines, jammed the fleet's long-range communications, and transmitted its location to every Council fleet command station across the galaxy. And then, it vanished again. No explosion, no casualties, just silence and shock. Back in the Council chamber on Veltrion 7, panic broke out as the live feed cut off. "They attacked," someone shouted. "No, they warned us," said another. High Chancellor Virex stood slowly, his jaw clenched. They wanted to show us they are awake, that they've been watching. Earth has declared itself, with silence. Back on the moon, Elena watched the footage from the Resolute's short attack. They'll hesitate now, she said. Her officer asked, should we prepare for a counterattack? No, Elena said calmly. We wait, let them feel fear. Let them question everything. High above Earth in the silent dark, the Resolute floated unseen, its weapons ready, its systems quiet, its crew watching. The message had been sent. The Council fleet was in chaos. Inside the vigilant flame, Admiral Rexor paced the deck, his 4 hands clenched behind his back. Officers scrambled to reset systems, restore long-range comms and stabilize failing shields. They disabled us without firing a shot, one officer muttered. Rexor growled. We've underestimated Earth, that ship, the Resolute. It was just one. How many more are hidden? No one answered. Suddenly, a new signal lit up the sensors. It came from the moon, slow and deep. A low-frequency pulse vibrated through space. Rexor turned to his crew. Track that signal. The scan hit a wall. A barrier of tech far beyond what the Council had ever seen blocked their probes. Admiral, a young lieutenant whispered, there's movement under the moon's surface. Beneath the moon, hidden bunkers opened like petals of steel. Massive slabs of rock shifted, revealing hangar bays glowing with cold blue light. Rows of warships, long, dark, and angular, rested in silence, waiting for the call. Commander Elena Ward stood at the center of the command dome. She watched as ship after ship came online. Fleet status, she asked. 73 warships activated, 30 more ready within the hour. Full stealth systems engaged. Engines silent. Elena nodded. Begin full power-up, 1 squadron at a time. Let them know the first strike wasn't a bluff. Around her, officers worked calmly and quickly. These weren't rookies. They were veterans of Earth's last war. They knew what was coming. The AI's voice echoed in the dome. The Resolute has returned to formation, awaiting next command. Elena turned to the large central screen, showing the Council fleet above. Let them watch. They'll see something they never expected. From the vigilant flame, Rexor stared in disbelief. The moon was changing. Large cracks appeared on its surface, unnatural, symmetrical. And then, ships began rising. One by one, black vessels emerged from hidden craters. They hovered without sound, forming a perfect sphere around the moon. Each ship bore no visible markings. Their weapons were hidden, their hulls seamless. They're not just defending, Rexor said, voice low. They're surrounding us. A new signal broke through. Audio only, calm, clear. This is Commander Elena Ward of Earth Defense Fleet. Leave orbit now. Do not test our silence again. The bridge froze. No one spoke. Rexor stared at the comm panel. She's bluffing. Sir, one officer said nervously. Our weapons systems are still offline. Back under the moon, Elena gave the order. Bring up the old war logs. Broadcast them on open Council frequencies. Across the alien fleet, screens lit up with footage. Old Earth battles. Human ships ripping through enemy formations. Unconventional tactics no AI could predict. Footage of humans fighting with fire in their eyes. Not machines, not logic. Will. Fear spread through the Council fleet like a virus. These weren't savages with crude weapons. These were ghosts of a war the galaxy thought was buried. And they were more advanced than ever. In the Council chamber, High Chancellor Virex watched the broadcasts in growing anger. We should have struck first, he hissed. An elder counselor spoke up. Perhaps Earth never wanted war. Perhaps we forced them to remember it. Virex slammed a fist on the table. Send reinforcements. Earth will kneel. But Earth was no longer kneeling. Earth had risen, and its fleet hidden for centuries beneath the moon, was now awake. The blackness of space above Earth turned tense. Dozens of Council warships hovered silently, surrounded by Earth's awakening fleet. From the shadows of the moon, one warship after another had emerged. They made no threats. They fired no weapons. But their presence alone was a message. Earth was not defenseless. Inside the vigilant flame, Admiral Rexor stood still, eyes fixed on the tactical display. "We are surrounded," an officer whispered. "If they attack, they won't." Rexor cut in, though he wasn't sure. "We came to control a planet, not start a war." He looked at the expanding sphere of Earth warships. Each ship moved in perfect silence, cloaked in smooth armor and unreadable signatures. Their formation was precise, cold, and ready. Rexor had fought dozens of campaigns, but this was unlike anything he had seen. Beneath the moon's surface, Commander Elena Ward stood on the command deck, watching it all unfold. "Status of all fleets?" she asked. 112 ships deployed. 50 remain in reserve. All systems online. Cloaking disengaged as ordered. Weapons on standby. Elena nodded. "The Council fleet is surrounded. Begin Phase 2. From Earth's orbit, 4 Dreadnought-class ships rose from the oceans. Each one was massive, older than most alien empires. They moved slowly but with confidence, joining the sphere. And then came the silence. For 5 full minutes, nothing moved. Then the Council made their mistake. Inside the vigilant flame, orders came through from the Council Core Command. "Admiral Rexor," a transmission buzzed in. "Engage the nearest human ship. Show strength. They must retreat." Rexor hesitated. "That's not wise." "Do it," the voice commanded. Now, Rexor turned. "Fire on target Alpha. Minimal yield. Disable only." The alien ship's weapons powered up. A pulse beam launched toward one of Earth's nearest cruisers. It hit. At least the cruiser shook. But then, it adapted. In seconds, the human ship's hull changed, reconfiguring its armor. Energy from the beam was absorbed and re-emitted. The Council fleet barely had time to react. Elena gave the order. Her voice was cold and calm. "Engage. No fatalities. Disable and disarm." Earth's warships moved like shadows. They struck with perfect coordination. Ion bursts shut down propulsion systems. EMP waves swept across control decks. Communications failed. Shields collapsed. Ships spun helplessly. The Resolute appeared at the center, its form sharp and unnatural. It phased across space, vanishing and reappearing between enemy ships, disabling entire squadrons without a single casualty. Alien crews panicked. Orders were lost. Coordination collapsed. Within 15 minutes, the Council's fleet was disabled, not destroyed, just neutralized. They were left drifting. Engines off, weapons offline, powerless. Inside the vigilant flame, Admiral Rexor stood in stunned silence. Lights flickered. His crew stared at the frozen systems. "They didn't kill us," one whispered. "They didn't have to," Rexor replied. Elena's voice echoed again through the fleet. "Let this be the last time Earth is judged by its silence. We are not your enemy, but we will never be your subject." In the Galactic Council chamber, chaos erupted. Virex slammed his hand on the platform. "This is war." But other voices rose. "No. It was restraint. They showed power and mercy. We pushed them, and they answered." A vote was called. Emergency measures. Virex's leadership was challenged. For the first time in 2 centuries, the Council feared, not Earth's weapons, but its will. Back in orbit, Earth's ships slowly returned to formation. The Council fleet was allowed to leave. No pursuit, no taunt, just quiet power. Commander Elena stood alone, watching the stars. "We don't need to conquer," she whispered. "We just needed them to remember." The Council fleet drifted in silence, as Earth's warships slowly retreated into the shadows. One by one, the black vessels vanished from view, slipping back into orbit around the moon or beneath the oceans of Earth. No ship chased, no weapon fired again. The message had been delivered, clearly, and without blood. On board the vigilant flame, Admiral Rexor watched his systems return to basic function. Engines flickered back online. Communications were partially restored. Crew members sat in silence, not celebrating survival, but reflecting on how close they came to destruction. "They could have ended us," one officer muttered. "Easily. Rexor didn't respond. He knew the truth. Earth had won not just the battle, but the respect of the stars. Back on Veltrion 7, the Galactic Council was in full session. Voices clashed across the chamber. Screens showed the footage of Earth's fleet rising, replays of the Resolute's maneuvers, the silent takedown of Council ships, and the calm message from Commander Ward. High Chancellor Vurek stood rigid, his pride bruised. They humiliated us. They spared us, said Kell of the Luminari. And they never fired the first shot. The Council made the first move, added another. Earth only answered. A motion was raised. Remove Vurex as High Chancellor. The vote passed. Just like that, leadership shifted. A new policy was announced. No action shall be taken against Earth without unanimous consent from all Council members. The Council didn't fear war with Earth. They feared what such a war would reveal about themselves. Below the moon's surface, the command center returned to standby mode. The Silent Armada, having completed its mission, powered down one ship at a time. Commander Elena Ward stood on the platform of the Resolute, looking at the stars through the observation deck. Earth turned slowly below, blue, calm and unaware. She activated a secure line to the central AI. Mission status. Fleet has returned to secure hold. All systems reset to silent watch. No breaches, no casualties. Elena nodded. And the Council. New leadership appointed. Earth's sovereignty officially recognized. Council fleets are retreating to neutral space. She stood in silence for a long time. Then she spoke softly. We didn't build these ships to conquer. We built them so no one would try. Mission complete, Commander. Elena looked down at Earth once more, a small smile forming on her face. We go quiet again, but let them remember what we keep in silence. Across the galaxy, stories spread like wildfire. Tales of warships that moved like shadows. A single dreadnought that shut down a fleet. A planet that vanished from records, only to rise when provoked. Earth, the silent world, had spoken. Not with words, but with power, control and restraint.